After barely winning around Zandvoort by 3/1000ths of a second, we're back racing in PSGL around the Jeddah Corniche circuit, the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. After last week's win, I'm back to the top of the standings, but with only 4 races to go, who is going to snatch the PSGL F7 title?
With the Aston driver rapidly closing the gap in the Drivers' Championship, it is absolutely crucial that I nail this next qualifying session so that I can start on the front row and maximize my odds in the championship. And Jeddah is such a hard track to get right. Any missed apex could mean death. Out of turn 4, a little wiggle, but it doesn't matter right now. All we need is a decent lap to serve as a banker, and I'm lifting a lot, trying to get used to the balance of the car, because once again, your boy did not warm up heading into the qualifying session. So I'm quite under the limit in a lot of the corners. I know I could be going faster, and I need to get up to speed and fast. Coming up to the famous blind left-hander, a little under the limit, not using the track fully. And lastly, coming around the final corner and up to the line, we're going to drain all of our battery and put our name on the timing board, which is P2 at the time, provisionally. And compared to the last time I raced around Jeddah in season 37, I've managed to match my personal best with a banker lap, and that I'm proud of. Jumping into the second lap right away out of turn 4, a massive exit is going to put us in the green, already a 10th gained. And through the S's, we managed to find another 10th right on the edge of grip and track limits, narrowly missing invalidation, and into this left-hander, try to stay as close as possible to the wall on the left-hand side and maximize exit speed as we head into the second DRS straight of the track. Once again, a blind corner, but we get beautifully back on the power, even though we lose some time on the corner exit, and through the left-hander, much better, and we're almost up to 4/10ths gained compared to our banker lap. And still, I could be going faster. Now, 1 corner left to negotiate, going a little wide, missing the apex, but going up to the line, we run out of battery a little too soon, and that is going to cost us some time. However, it's still going to be a 1:27.4, which I'm once again very proud of. Moving on to the final push lap, I lose the rears going into the S's, and I invalidate the lap going too wide through the blind left, and I will not improve on my final run, which means I will be starting 3rd going into the main event. Now, Jeddah is probably one of the most chaotic tracks on the calendar. Most people are on the mediums, all except my championship rival. Going into turn 1, we get a beautiful exit, but I brake a little too early, a little too conservative. This does mean that there's a car around my outside. I'm gonna leave some room on the outside. However, the 2 cars in front touch and they collide, and I move up to P1 before yellow flags come out. Absolute carnage. However, it's no time to dwell because I assume P2 has sustained significant wing damage, which is why I'm gonna use these high-speed corners to my advantage to create a big enough of a gap once DRS gets activated. But first, let's look at that lap 1 incident again. The Aston gets a great start off the line, but so does the McLaren. And being on the softer compound tires, the McLaren manages to keep it around the outside. However, the contact model sucks both of them into the wall. What do you think? Who was responsible for the incident? Or is it just a plain old racing incident? Let me know in the comments.
No, bro!
Back to the race at hand. Not even a full sector later, the McLaren has been swallowed up by the pack. But what's that? Another incident. This time, my other championship rival, Mike, has decided to drive into a wall, which brings out one of the many virtual safety cars that we will run into throughout this race. And I'm watching closely the delta here because I want to have to jump on P2. I do not want to be sitting with over a second of delta once you go racing again. And we have to ride the fine line between maximizing the delta and also avoiding a drive-through penalty. I'm being very careful on a virtual safety car restart, but once we go green, I go on full throttle and I start pushing right away. How long can P2 keep this up? I'm right on the cusp of falling inside the DRS window, and I'm running low on battery, but so is he. that is when another virtual safety car is brought out on track. Once again, I do not want to be sitting duck as we go racing again, but you can be damn sure the Alpine is going to be trying the same thing as us. And as we go racing again, P2 did not have the same amount of luck this time, and right away, the gap has already widened up to 1.8 seconds. With both of my championship rivals out of the picture, all I need to do is protect my front wing and maintain a semblance of pace, and this should be a pretty easy win. Now, if you remember from last week's video, if you're a solo car on track, usually you're not as fast as, let's say, a 2-man or a 3-man train, where you can exchange DRS to catch up that's in front and further away. So I'm at a slight disadvantage here. Going towards the end of lap 4, however, the gap has widened up to over 2 seconds, and I'm gonna cross the line with 3 green sectors. Not because I'm pushing particularly hard, it's just because we haven't had a full lap of racing yet due to all the incidents. I haven't broken off from the DRS train. All I have to do now is sail into the distance, right? Unfortunately, life is funny, and the safety car comes out on lap 7. This is bad news, because now my championship rival gets a free ticket into the race. Though he will still be last on the grid once the safety car sorts everybody out, this does mean, however, he gets a shot at the win now. And we don't like that here. And the cogs are already turning to formulate a plan of attack. As the safety car comes in at the end of lap 9, I'm working my hardest to put some heat into the tires because the hards are frozen right now. I'm gonna try to surprise the grid on my safety car restart, and I decide to go in the middle of the corner because I want to separate myself as much as possible from the rest of the pack if possible. Once again, drive into the distance so that I can guarantee myself the maximum amount of points, which is 16 if you finish P1 in PSGL, 1 lap for pole position and 1 lap for the fastest lap. And I'm fighting the car coming out of corners. The hards are just simply too cold right now. No matter, because P2 is dealing with the same problems right now, and I, having warmed my tires properly, am actually at a slight advantage right here. Narrowly missing the walls and track invalidations, I managed to create a 1.4 second gap, and by the end of the first sector, it has widened up to about 1.6 seconds. Once again, it is a timing battle that we're fighting. But let me take a moment from your day and direct your attention to the top left corner. What the hell is my championship rival doing on softs? There's still 14 laps to go, about 14 and a half laps, and let me tell you, softs, being the C4 compound around Jeddah, do not make it to the end from here. Even the mediums will start to struggle after about 7 or 8 laps, and those are already the C3 compound. And now the situation has been flipped upside down. By going to the soft, my championship rival has effectively given me the free win. He's rapidly moving through the positions, making his way up to P4 and now P3, and even if he drags the train to me after he overtakes P2, that's okay with me, because he will have to box again. And trust me when I say, he will not be able to catch up to me after he boxes again. Not even a lap later, the Aston has already managed to move up to P2. The softs are just so much faster right now. But the problem is not necessarily tire wear. It's the massive overheating that the softs are going to suffer from. Out of turn 1, he's managed to gain about 2 or 3 tenths, showing how much faster the softs are in the heavy traction zones. And I knew at this point it would be futile to fight him. It would only cost both of us more race time, and knowing that he would have to pit again later, I was not concerned with track position, at least when it comes to the Aston. Even though he's going to overtake me here, I do not mind that. I suspect he's already suffering from overheating on his rear right, which is what tends to happen on this year's game around Jeddah. And with the power of DRS, there's no way he's going to get out of that 1 second window, at least not from me. And not even 2 laps later, I regain the position, not because track position matters right now, but just as a way to maximize our pace. And if I see any weakness from his part throughout the lap, I am 100% going to make use of it. Jonat is already struggling quite a bit on his softs. He's about 7/10ths behind, almost 8, heading onto the second DRS straight. And I'm gonna start to use my battery here. If you wish to stay in my DRS, then you gotta work for it. Even though he's still inside my DRS, by the end of Sector 3, he's having to use a lot of overtake in order to keep up. And onto the main straight, the gap is now 1.2 seconds, and he has no choice but to box. Unfortunately for him, no safety cars this time to save his skin. Or is there gonna be? When the virtual safety car is deployed, however, my championship rival was the reason for it. Now, because the Aston dragged the rest of the grid back into my DRS, I'm working with a tiny margin between P2 and I. And I do not want him to get back inside my DRS because I want this P1 finish. However, P3 has gotten the drive-through penalty, and that is going to mean that the kick is not going to have a DRS buddy to work with to catch up to me. So once again, we are facing a timing battle between P2 and I. Who has more a raw pace compared to the other? The answer is Formula Kai. Because as we approach the end of the lap, one corner left to negotiate. Unless my wheel disconnects here, it is going to be a guaranteed win on track. I've managed this race to perfection. Every virtual safety car, I've managed to surprise my opponents. Big pats on the back to myself.
And with that, we kick off the festivity break for the winter season in PSGL. But don't worry about it, because we will be back racing in about 2 weeks around Suzuka. With only 3 races to go, I hope you're just as excited as I am to see who is gonna win it all. In the meantime, stay safe, and I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.